to David Saunders to introduce the session.
Yeah, hi, thank you. On behalf of FDP's Research Systems Technologies Committee, Lori Schultz and I once again welcome the SciENcv team to present Navigating SciENcv with an overview as well as some recent updates. And just wearing my NSF hat for a moment, I want to thank SciENcv for being such outstanding partners to us on implementing NSF's BioSketch and implementing other support, and continuing now this year, right now, working on the rollout of the common forms from the NSPM 33. So thank you so much. Our speakers today are Sherry Holland-Bailey, who represents NCBI's user services team, Bart Trawick, who's the head of customer services at NCBI. And we also have on the call Gene Feldman, who needs no introduction, but is NSF's head of policy and is co-author of those NSPM 33 common forms. So let me hand it off to Sherry. Take it away.
Yes. Thank you very much. Just want to make sure everyone can see my PowerPoint okay?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Hello, I just wanted to tell you that I am really excited to be joining you today and giving you an overview of SciENcv. And we're going to discuss some of the changes that we have implemented since our last update in October. But to conserve my bandwidth, I'm going to turn off my camera, but I will be back for the question and answer session for us to get started. So let me do that quickly. There we go. Okay, today we will be reviewing some of the updates for SciENcv, an overview of SciENcv, and how to log in. And I'll also be tossing in a few of the tips and tricks of working with your documents. As a side note, one of the things that we strive for at SciENcv is user friendliness, meaning usability. Our goal is that SciENcv is intuitive, and we need your feedback and suggestions. If there is nothing else that you take away from today, know that we listen. And I will be providing some contact information at the end of our presentation so you and your colleagues can get involved. Back to our agenda. Today, we will have a brief discussion on how ORCID and My Bibliography can help you fill out your forms faster, NSF document certification, and finally, delegates to help you manage your SciENcv and My Bibliography. SciENcv was created to assist you in reducing your administrative burden in creating federal documents. And one way that we do this is by providing agency formatting automatically for you. What does this mean? This includes your margins, your font size, your character limitations, and so on. This is ultimately going to save you time by eliminating the redundancy. You also have the ability to create it once, and then you are able to copy, edit, modify, and print on demand. You are also going to be able to leverage your data from other systems like My Bibliography, which is another tool like SciENcv in your NCBI account. Leveraging also comes into play by linking your ORCID account used to identify and connect author citations and much more of the information needed in your biographical sketch itself. At the bottom of this slide, you will see how to find us. And I know it's a lot. So I suggest that you use your favorite search engine and look up SciENcv and then bookmark it for the landing page itself. I want to take a few moments to acknowledge the agency administrative guides. If you have ever taken a look at these guides, you know that it has very specific and detailed instructions. SciENcv does some of that heavy lifting for you with your biographical sketch and your current and pending other support documents so that you can truly concentrate on making your information stand out by showcasing your accomplishments. Another way that we reduce administrative burden is by updating the form. We constantly make updates, and we are constantly trying to make this more user-friendly and minimize clicking. For those of you who are with us prior to last October, or who are still using the NIH form, the screenshot on the left should look familiar. Basic editing required that you click the edited entries link, locate the line, and then click edit to go to a pop-out form where you'll make your corrections. You click save, and then save when you're done modifying the section. SciENcv launched the form for NSF in October. So this means less clicking to get to your information, which is also going to save you time, and modify within a few simple clicks. Now, this is personally one of my favorite features. It's creating a document and storing multiple documents. So this is my pro tip. Create a master document, put everything in it, including the kitchen sink that you may be using for your biographical sketch or your current and pending other support that you are going to submit to government agencies. From there, create copies from that master and modify the copy to craft the document for your submission. If you see an error or an omission, no worries. You can generate the PDF on demand, fix it, and generate a new one as many times as necessary. Again, creating that master document may initially take some time to set up, and it can be intense, but it is going to be worth it on the back end to save you time, I promise. That is kind of the basic overview of SciENcv, of the actual usability as well as leveraging your data. So before we dive a little deeper, let's talk about getting started. Again, the easiest way to find us is to do a browser search of SciENcv, but you can always type out the URL, but I always suggest that you actually bookmark it. On the SciENcv homepage, which is what you see here, you have 3 options to sign in and to create your account. You can use your NIH ERA Commons credentials, your NSF credentials, or click more options, which will take you to a menu of other third-party options such as login.gov, ORCID, Google, Microsoft, and in most cases, your college and universities. If you are a primary NSFer, we encourage you to sign up with your NSF credentials. If you're thinking, but Sherry, I have both NIH and an NSF account. At that point, you sign up using whichever account you use most, and then you have the ability to link the others, which we'll get into in a bit. So what exactly is linking multiple accounts? I like to think of it as your NCBI account is a house. You have multiple ways to enter, like through NSF, but you can also link your accounts to ERA Commons, ORCID, which is, remember, going to be helpful when you're leveraging your existing data, and of course, your college and university, which is listed in most cases. Within your NCBI account, you have the ability to create collections, create email safe searches from PubMed, and of course, access my bibliography, where you can store your citations or products in addition to ORCID. Linking your account is super easy. 3 easy steps. You simply log into your account, you click account settings, which is going to be located on the upper right corner when you click your username. You scroll down to the actual linked accounts portlet, click change, search for the account, and in this case, it's ORCID, and you sign in. That easy. Now, you can link as many accounts as you like. The benefit of linking other accounts is that it provides you multiple ways to access the single account. And with ORCID, you can pull in the data that you've already created. Working with SciENcv. Basically, we provide the structure, but you're going to make it your own. Moving forward, we're going to take a quick look at some of the things that we've worked on to provide a better user experience. Remember seeing this slide a little further back? This one actually includes what the old NSF interface looked like up into October. And to the right, you see its facelift, which you can see easier to read, easier to navigate. Now, I can hear someone's thinking now, and yes, I'm working on my psychic abilities. You're asking, what about the 2024 PAPG guide? We are currently working on the updates, and it will be released several weeks before the effective date for you to try it out. Another way that we help alleviate that administrative burden is by automatically updating your 23-1 document to 24-1 once the policy actually goes into effect. I never get tired of saying this, but we want your input. This is an example of what we implemented. The drop-down box is for degrees. Now, as you know, our drop-down box did not include every degree from every college and university from around the world, and the titles of the degrees may vary. Our update allows you to edit and type in the actual degree name, and you also have the ability to update the country, state, or province. Now, let's get back to leveraging your existing data from ORCID or a different agency form that has different requirements. Sometimes you're going to see a red error icon on the side of the entry. When working with your NSF documents, you will not be able to certify and download your document until all of the errors are resolved. As you see in the example here, the country, state, and degree were not mapped to the existing form. Here, you would just simply click the edit icon, which is the pencil, and fill in the required data, and then just click save. Other ways that we have made the form friendly since October is by providing a pick list of dates, automatically adding commas to your award amounts, and of course, providing a character count for your free text, such as overall objectives and statement of potential overlap. I have a question for you. Are you an ORCID user? If not yet, I want you to think of some of the reasons why you should probably become one. It can be used as one of the login methods. If you publish, it provides you with a persistent identifier. If you have or will ever change your name, this is really going to come in handy. And finally, you can use this to edit your large author list in SciENcv. Now, the ORCID ID is currently optional. And if you have an NCBI account that is linked to ORCID, it will automatically appear on the screen and the generated PDF. If you prefer not to display your ORCID ID, you just simply click the trash can located beside the ID in the identifying information organization location, which appears in both the biographical sketch and current and pending other support. This was really a small update, but in my opinion, it definitely has a big impact for our users. This slide shows you how easy it is to create an NSF biographical sketch by leveraging the information already in your ORCID account. And I would like to pause for just a moment to talk about the Create a New Document form, which is located right there in the center. Notice right above the circle ORCID, there is a radio button to copy an existing document. Remember how I said earlier, create a master document and you can easily duplicate the document and edit it as necessary. This means that you really have two ways to leverage your existing data, and each one is only a radio button click away. We've touched on this previously, but I wanted to really reiterate. You are in control of your data, and we are here to help make it easier to navigate. One of the ways that we have made it easier for you to control your data is with the ability to drag and drop to change the order of your products or citations in the NSF products section, as seen here. Yes, dragging and dropping is a nice feature, but how do you add products or citations? SciENcv gives you two options. The first is My Bibliography, which is part of your NCBI account. And the second option is ORCID, both appearing on the tabs within your products section. Within My Bibliography, you have two ways of adding your products or citations. The first is with Add Product, the link that's right there. And this is quickly going to add citations directly from PubMed. If you do not have citations in PubMed, or let's just say you want to add manual citations on the fly, use the Manage My Bibliography link where you're able to create a citation using one of our templates like books and chapters, patents, journal articles that do not appear in PubMed, and more. You can see the list there. The final way to leverage your product or citation information is if you have a reference manager like EndNote or RefWorks. You would need to create a RIS file, and then you would just simply upload it to My Bibliography. Now, keep in mind that each reference manager works a little bit differently, and if you need help, please contact their help desk first. The second tab in NSF's products is ORCID Citations. And here is a helpful link if you need to know how to get started with some of their member organizations. So I'll pause here for a moment so you can grab a screenshot. Another advantage to using the ORCID tab is the ability to edit large author lists. I do not have an example of the older version, but trust me when I say it was clunky compared to this update. This update makes everything easy to read. Edited author lists, as well as the original citation, is below for comparison. And here's an example of what the original author list looks like if we were able to scroll down. Always remember, when you are updating your author list, shortening it, always in the product with author list with et al. At the very end, as you can see here in our example. Once you have completed the form, you are ready to certify. Remember, this is an activity only for your senior personnel. So what happens if you're completing the form for your senior personnel? Well, then you're considered a delegate. You're considered a delegate because you're managing someone else's account. Any NCBI account holder can invite someone to manage their SciENcv and My Bibliography. A delegate can manage the NCBI accounts of one person or multiple people from their own NCBI account. And remember, this is by invitation only via email. The delegate also has access to our service desk to assist in troubleshooting not only their account, but when you're a delegate, we will also assist you in troubleshooting the senior personnel's account as well. So how do you add a delegate? You simply navigate to your account settings. Again, remember, you log in, you go to the upper right corner, you click your username, and you drop down to account settings. You scroll down and then you click on add a delegate and you provide their email address. And yes, you can have multiple delegates to manage your single account. Now, as a delegate, it is suggested that you log into your NCBI account prior to clicking the acceptance link email within 48 hours. Now, once you log in, you will be able to manage the account to create, modify, and delete. And what you see here is a sample of the My NCBI dashboard, the SciENcv document page located there at the bottom, and over to the right, a SciENcv document view as a delegate. So you always know exactly where you are within any form. Now, you can see that I've kind of highlighted view draft where it says generate draft PDF at any stage. Everyone is able at any stage to download a draft PDF. And the ability to download the PDF when it is highlighted. And it's highlighted right now, the blue button, after the document has been certified by the PI or senior personnel. If you make a modification, yes, it will need to be recertified and re-downloaded. So here's an example of the draft download itself. Notice the draft watermark and know that research.gov only accepts the certified PDF. View draft, which is what we're looking at, is another update that was based on suggestions that we received. Again, contact us. We really do listen. So this slide shows what the delegate certification process looks like from left to right. If the document is not certified, the following warning will appear when clicked. When you're clicking the grayed out download PDF icon. Remember, at any time, anyone can generate a view draft to review the document. Once the PI or senior personnel logs into their NCBI account, they will be able to certify the document and download the PDF. Once certified, the delegate will also be able to download the PDF for submission. I have provided a whirlwind overview of SciENcv, and now I am asking you to think about becoming involved, especially in NSFers. We want to make sure that you are fully represented in the design. Here is your open invitation to provide suggestions, feedback, volunteer to be a usability tester, and you can always contact us directly with any issues, compliments, of course. And if you would like to join any of our upcoming workshops dealing with SciENcv and my bibliography, and you can contact us directly at nlm-sciencv@mail.nih.gov. So before we get to any lingering questions, here is a final slide with helpful resources and again, the contact information to get involved and to contact us with any technical issues. And with that, I will end the presentation and come back on camera. And I will turn it over to questions and answers.
Thank you, Sherry. Thanks so much. I don't know if you guys want to go over some of the topics that have already come up in the Q&A briefly. Are we Are we good there? Do we have any other questions? I know there's one question that is pending that says, will there be updates in the future allowing already delegated users to add new delegates to accounts? They're saying that this is something that's already allowed in research.gov and wondering if SciENcv will do that in the future.
This is the first time I heard of that, so I will take it under advisement.
I don't know if David wants to say anything about how that works in research.gov.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to it. Yeah.
Okay,
I
great.
mean, it's a good idea. It's a good idea.
Delegates to delegates to delegates. Yeah.
Yeah, currently, the PI can add delegates, so I
Yeah.
get what they're saying, that they want to have to delegate kind of manage the administrative stuff and add additional people, so makes sense to me.
Yeah, and Bart, are you willing to talk a little bit more? The concept of an API to get information from institutional systems for current pending support has come up a couple of times in the Q&A. Can you
A
talk
lot
little
of
bit about
times, actually.
what you're thinking there, and what, I know that somebody asked about timeline and someone asked about like a smart form, but I think they also followed up with what about the info in our systems? So could you talk a little bit about that and what you're thinking there?
Yeah, sure. We've kind of had this on our mind as something that would come up. And, to some of the other posters that wrote the question in there, like, I so agree. It hurts my mind thinking that institutions are printing out a form that someone has to take and then manually type that into SciENcv. So that's an issue that we definitely want to avoid having. And we've gone out, we've talked to several other institutions, their IT departments, just to kind of get a handle on what type of data they have and what kind of solution might work for alleviating this, because all that information is in these business systems, in these grant administration offices. So we are very interested in making it easy for those offices to export it, give it to the PIs so that they can add it into SciENcv, and then the form all gets populated with what's coming from your institution system. It's all structured data in that system. We use structured data on the SciENcv side. So it's just a matter of us making it so that we can connect the data from many different types of institutions and many different types of formats that you have in there. So we are looking at this, and we're talking about how to make solutions for this. I also put email address in there. So if you want to get in contact with the team, talk about specific ways to help your institution with this, feel free to reach out so we can discuss that.
Lori, I have something quick that I'd like to bring up. I so want to congratulate, again, as David said, the great partnership we have with Bart and his amazing team. They're great to work with, and they have been trying to increase the amount of pre-population of information into those. So of course, and things, just the product section is amazing, just as an example of that. Are you currently in discussions with ORCID to see what else could be leveraged and to build? And you may want to say, I thought you were, so you may want to kind of say, because that's something we get a lot. How do we, if it can bring it over from ORCID, could we get it in those forms?
Right. So SciENcv does have the ability where you can link your ORCID account to SciENcv. ORCID has a really fantastic API that's extremely well documented, and we've made use of that. ORCID has recently added additional information for funding, and that's another avenue that we're looking into. Since we're already consuming their API, we're just going to extend that view that we're getting from them, so we can get some of that information into the current and pending other support. So that is another avenue of effort that we're actively involved in. So be on the lookout for updates later this year on that.
Super helpful. Thanks so much for sharing that information with everyone. I think that will be incredibly helpful when things can get on the current and pending other support. They can get some pre-population done there. I think that's awesome news. Sorry, Lori, I didn't mean to interrupt your.
Oh, no worries at all. So there's another question in the chat from an NSF user, and they say that they find it difficult to find manuscripts to include in their CV. They're supposedly listed by year, but they seem to be random, and they're having difficulty searching one by one. I don't know if this is related to the search function that was a previously answered question. So that's something that you're contemplating.
Yeah, so we are adding a search function for once you're looking at the citations and you're trying to add them to your bibliography. I think that's what this individual is talking about. And we have seen cases with some investigators that have enormous bibliographies, thousands of papers. So we have plenty of examples to work with and recognize that, you're only adding 5. So we want to make sure that you're able to quickly find the ones that you want to add to the biographical sketch.
Thank you. And there's another question that I'm not sure anyone in this room can answer, but I'll ask it anyway. Is there any other plan or communications from other federal agencies that plan to start using the common forms? And they've asked particularly about NIFA. I don't know that any of us can speak on behalf of those agencies.
I can't speak on behalf of, but we've received expressions of interest, let's just put it that way, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different other agencies. So this is a very active space right now. Now, as to whether the question was about the common forms, as to whether other agencies beyond education and NIH, who obviously are already using it, will show up at the table. I certainly couldn't answer from the other agencies.
Yeah, so one question that has come up through that came up to that I used to get some questions in advance of this presentation was about folks who are mostly NSF funded and maybe don't have any NIH funding at all. And I think Sherry handled a lot of that really well in the comments about how to get started if you're NSF funded. But one of the things that I think might come up is, how do we let them know? Are there plans to maybe include information about what kind of person you are and how you should log in, so that's really clear from the beginning for someone using SciENcv for the first time? And if not, can we help you with that?
Yep, you're muted, Sherry.
Okay, better?
There you go. Oh, it just went away again.
Now?
There.
Okay, perfect. Absolutely. This is part of the feedback that I was talking about. Give us your suggestions. We're used to working with NIH. NSF came aboard. They embraced us wholeheartedly, and it is a work in progress. Give us your suggestions. If you want different personas, let us know. We can make it happen.
Yeah, I can let you know, this group know, everyone who's attending, is there will be a discussion of faculty use of SciENcv in the FACT session that's tomorrow morning at it's 9 a.m. my time, so what's that, 11 Eastern. And I think that's one of the things they'll be talking about is could we talk about personas? And I see in the chat that that Shauna has mentioned that ORCID has recently integrated with InfoEd, which is a common research admin system that universities use. So if you use InfoEd, you'll be able to write data to your researcher records in ORCID, like employment, funding, and works, which can then, populate ORCID record and then can populate the common forms in SciENcv. So that's, one way of looking at it. And the other thing that is available to ORCID member institutions is a tool called Affiliation Manager. So your organization can already do that, can write records to ORCID, to your faculty members' ORCID records, to have correct information in there, including employment information, education information and professional activities. So it's from a verified source. So if you're an ORCID member institution, you might want to investigate that as well. Let's see that, she's also saying that ORCID's also working with other ERA systems. So since we are ERA system customers, if you have interest in that, talk to your vendor. We pay them to do these things for us, right? Let's see, I'll see if there are a few other questions. Let's see. Someone's asking if a link to SciENcv can be added to research.gov. Good question.
Yeah, are they saying from the homepage or? It's already linked from within the proposal system,
Okay.
so,
Yeah, it's in PSM.
right. Yeah, let me take a note
But
on that.
making it much more visible, if it would help folks,
Yeah.
that's an easy thing to add. An info tip there or something on the easy. So that'd be if that's helpful.
Yeah, there have been a couple of other comments about, you know, for research administrators that support NSF faculty and have already kind of gone through this, they're worried about what it's going to be like for other sponsors as they adopt SciENcv. So, but I'm sure you guys are familiar with what that's going to look like, especially if it becomes a requirement. Let's see. We don't have any more questions in the Q&A. So folks, this time is yours. If you want to ask questions, please do so.
There's another one more.
Oh, so this one says the dream state for the link from SciENcv to research.gov is that the docs in SciENcv can be pushed directly into research.gov without having to download from one and upload to another.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. Yeah, okay. I misunderstood the original, but yeah, we Bart and I have talked about that. It's definitely possible. We just haven't really prioritized it yet. So
Something that we've heard. Well, the other one that I've heard from FTP specifically was, why do we even use these documents? We just want to transfer the data from one side to another. So
And
yeah,
from a policy perspective, the reason, I mean, the download would have to be done because unless Bart could redesign that, but it's that point that we get the actual certification, which is mandated by NDAA 2020, that it's accurate, current, complete. And now in the 2024 PAP guide, we'll be adding that you're not a party to a malign foreign talent. But from a policy perspective, as long as we got those are the big issues for us.
yeah, I mean, we've got creative usability people if we can figure this out. So
Yeah,
I'm sure it's doable.
yeah.
yeah, and again, this feedback is so valuable to us because this is where we hear how we can make it better. For example, hearing about the delegates earlier, assigning other delegates, that's great. That's, we put all this stuff, we have a backlog where we capture all of these things and prioritize them, and it's good. If you think you're the only one that has it, you might not be. And when we hear several people coming in with the same type of recommendation, it adds weight to that type of request, and we prioritize it. So let us know how we can make it better for you.
They want to know when you're going to offer more NCBI workshops.
the important question. Yep.
Yeah.
The important stuff. Absolutely. If the email address that I provided you, which is the NLM SciENcv@mail.nih.gov, if you write into us, we will make sure that you are on the mailing list. We are also available to, speak to your departments. We can do it virtually. So you have a lot of different options available to you. Want to hear from you, write in.
And we have YouTube videos available.
And there was a question in the chat about when NIH will make the use mandatory, and we don't have an answer to that. If you look at the Foreign Influence Working Group session that was recorded, Michelle talks about when NIH will implement those forms, so take a look, but no mention of a mandatory date for NIH yet. So there's another dream scenario here, a SciENcv push with investigator certification, of course, to assist and/or grants.gov would be a huge value add.
Good to know. Very helpful.
Oh, and here's Stephanie says that, it would be great if there was a listserv we could sign up for to obtain updates on SciENcv, like future trainings or current issues. Like, as the usage grows, it does seem like there's a need for that research admin community to understand outages, new features, you know, on a more mass communication scale? Are there plans for that?
Yeah, we're looking into that. We have a listserv, and if we set that up, we'll send out information on how you can subscribe to it.
So that's all the pending questions we have. So those of you who have questions, don't be shy. Put them in the chat or the Q&A. Either way, we've got time. Yeah, and when that becomes available, FTP can definitely be a help in circulating it, the availability out so folks can sign up.
And we would certainly send it out as well, because there's a great benefit to us, to our many listservs, to make sure folks know about it, because I think that would help us be able to make sure that the information is being disseminated as far and wide as we can get it.
Yeah, great point, Jean.
There aren't any more pending questions. I don't know if we want to give it a couple more minutes or release everybody from sitting in front of their Zoom all day today at the FTP meeting. Give you a little break to walk around.
Been a very long day for folks. I think people are a little tuckered out.
Yeah, just a little bit. With that, you know, I will partially on behalf of the RSTC, David is the other half. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your guidance and wisdom on SciENcv, and thank you for all the work you've done and the work you'll continue to do as the common forms are implemented. Another reminder that at 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow is the FACT concurrent session where we'll be talking about this. Another opportunity to talk about issues that you're having, especially if you're faculty, because we want to get a lot of that information. And I don't know, David, if there are any other things you'd like to say before we close out today.
Nope, you got it. You did it. Thank you, everybody.
There was one.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye.
I will send the Q&A report, and then we can also post that online if we want.
I'm trying to talk while I'm muted. That would be great. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. And I can, you know, David or I can get the slides from Sherry.
Perfect. Yeah, that'd be
So those posted too. Yeah.
lovely.
Great.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you. Thanks.
Good afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye.